Welcome to The Discourse, the podcast that has hot food takes,
cool food people,
and never a lukewarm moment.
I'm Chef Renee. I direct a research and development test kitchen, and I think high protein has become the new now with Bluetooth.
That's good.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I'm Cali, trends expert and nutritionist, and I think that if high protein options in the store become any more expensive, they're going to be put behind a glass case, and we don't need that.
Oh, man.
God. And my name is Chef Cam. I manage a team of R&D chefs, and we need to stop with these cottage cheese recipes.
Hey!
I'm sorry.
Honestly, I can't even hate on you that much for that because I am a cottage cheese girly. We do know this, but I'm not frequently using it in recipes.
No, I literally ate stuffed shells that didn't have ricotta. They had cottage cheese in them for dinner last night.
There you go.
That's outrageous, Cameron.
I know.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
As someone that meal preps too.
Yeah, I was like, I see you hating on me and my cottage cheese as I'm like eating it in the office yesterday.
Oh my
What
God.
can I say? I'm a hater.
No, I still love my cottage
Certified
cheese,
haterade.
but I feel like the growth of cottage cheese has led to massive disruptions in distribution. Like I can only get the cottage cheese I like in certain places, and don't do that to me. I don't have time.
Do you like a bigger curd or a smaller curd cottage cheese?
Small and creamy all the way.
Okay. I like a big curd cottage cheese. That's just me.
Yeah, that is just you.
any cottage cheese. I'm team just cottage cheese, you know, blend
Fair.
it. I will, you know, just get it into my body so that I feel like I
Into
ate
my body.
protein and it wasn't chicken. Which brings
Speaking of protein. Okay. Oh God. Oh man. Okay. All right. So we are starting with some guess that operators today regarding this protein craze. So the first one is coming to stores this March in 2 flavors. This protein-packed version of a very popular chip brand will offer consumers the ability to indulge in their favorite snack that now has 10 grams of protein thanks to added casein, which is a milk protein, as opposed to the original 2 grams of protein per serving.
Doritos.
Yeah, Doritos.
Yes.
Right?
They're
Not
just
everything
the
needs
Quest
to be
chips.
high
They're
protein.
They're just the Quest chips.
No, but
in a Doritos
exactly.
bag.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I'm like, how
exactly.
expensive is that bag of chips going to be? Because a bag of chips is already like
Yeah.
$5 or something.
Yeah.
Imagine
You
a
know?
family-sized bag of protein-packed Doritos.
I don't want to know what that's
Imagine
like.
the gut bomb after you accidentally
Yeah,
eat
everybody's
that whole
stomachs are
bag,
hurting.
You know, like this meal junk.
Don't they
food
say beauty is
replacement.
pain? They're like, it's healthy for me. Like, okay, anyway. The next one. I'm curious to see if you guys will know this. This plant-based pioneer that recently made a surprise entry into the beverage industry is expanding its experimental line of clear, sparkling protein drinks following a strong consumer response where the initial launch sold out in days. The new limited flavors such as strawberry lemonade and pina colada provide 10 to 20 grams of protein and 7 grams of fiber per serving, acting as a strategic move beyond this brand's original product category to mark a significant effort to diversify the company's portfolio and stabilize its financial future.
Is it Beyond?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Beyond Meat's making
Wow.
protein drinks, everyone.
What?
Yeah,
And
isn't that
is
kind of
it
crazy?
plant-based? I assume.
I would
Plant-based
assume.
protein. Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
I'm like, you know that because like clear protein drinks are out there, someone is cooking on like protein ice that is going to be like everywhere.
The clear protein drinks are just okay. Like, what's so funny about them is that what did I do? Oh yeah, I made something that was like, it was a lemonade flavored like clear whey protein. I added some syrups, I blended mint into it, and then I called it a swolhito.
Swolhito?
Yeah, and it went very well. The customers
that could be an
we showed
entire
it to-
brand.
Oh, I know. But yeah, it was tasty. But granted, there was a lot of added sugar to it, so that's why it tasted
That
very
seems
good.
to be the problem with
Yep.
all of these products.
Yep.
Cam, I think you, being our swole gym bro,
Yep.
are kicking us off with this hot take today.
Yeah. So obviously very surprising that this would be coming from me, but like as someone that has to eat like 190 grams of protein a day per my trainer. Yeah. And all of that. Yeah. Kind of wild, I know. But I'm able to make it happen.
That's like 6 chicken breasts. Or like what? Like 40 eggs? Like
I don't like, dude, it's possible, but I have a system. But anyway,
you must.
Yeah, I have to. That's why I have to meal prep.
Oh my God.
But anyway, my whole hot take is that this whole high protein craze is really at a boiling point. And it's just another fad similar to what we've seen in the past, whether it's low carb, low fat, like all of that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of just the amount of high protein, just like CPG products that we've seen hit the shelves in basically like a year. Mm-hmm. A year's time is like kind of astonishing. Mm-hmm. And my real main concern with this trend or fad, if you will, are people just blindly following the trend and increasing their protein intake, but then not taking into account the quality of that protein source. Like when you look at all these CPG products, it's like your protein source does not need to be birthday cake explosion flavored. You should probably pause.
Speak for yourself, okay?
Like if you see that, probably take a pause. But yeah, that's my hot take.
So talk to me about what you mean by quality of protein.
So when I think of quality of protein, and again, working with my trainer and everything, he's really helped me just utilize and just think about protein and just try to get it from like whole sources. So I'm talking like lean proteins, especially. Like these CPG products, are they great? Yes. As like a casual treat every now and then. Yeah. However, you want to at least be getting them from as minimally processed sources as possible. So that's where the kind of quality comes in. And something that we'll probably talk about later is these CPG products that we're seeing, they have a lot of added ingredient like fats, sugars, etc., to actually make them palatable. Because like it's a known fact that like a protein bar, like low key kind of sucks.
Well, and I've always struggled with protein powders. Like I've never found a protein powder that I think is palatable, to be completely honest.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's interesting to see like almost like the techification of CPG products, where like so many people who don't have backgrounds in food scientists or even necessarily like food and food service marketing are launching these brands just because they feel like there's this like hole in the market. And so it's really interesting to hear you call out that kind of nutrition piece to it, because it truly feels like these brands are being created to be marketed versus to like be something that is satiating and healthy and makes you feel good about yourself and the rest of your day.
But that is why we're here today, because those things are, I mean, I feel like the high protein claim is just that, like consumers will buy it. It's almost a guarantee right now. And so that's why we've seen so much innovation. I did want to kind of set our scene with some bread service here before we get more into it. But we've obviously talked about protein a lot through the lens of other trends. And today we are diving into more specifics about what's happening in CPG and retail and in food service. And if we think about the cultural shift and how it's evolved, it was solidified in the 2010s when the paleo and keto diets became really popular, but it obviously has exploded. Why are you laughing?
Because I was in college when like paleo diet hit, and I went to a liberal arts school, and so half of the anthropology majors were all eating the paleo diet to connect more with their studies.
That's wild.
That's iconic.
It is. And like CrossFit was coming up at the same time, so there's this whole like, you know, like just a lot of freaks out there, I guess.
As I said, movements. They're really, it's like a cult following. Anyway, since then, it's exploded even more over the last several years, particularly in response to the rise of all of the GLP-1s, which do require higher protein density to preserve muscle mass. But most recently, it is interesting, at the beginning of this year, this craze has ultimately led to a federal dietary reset, which has increased recommended daily intakes. And on that note, for a little bit more of the nutrition context, kind of like we did with fiber and adding to what Cam was saying, we know that protein is that vital macronutrient. And so it is really important in the body, but it does carry this common misconception, which is that while many view it as a superior energy source, it actually provides the same amount of energy as carbohydrates, gram for gram. And because we've discussed how carbs are more readily available as immediate fuel, protein is often the backup. It's only ever been recommended to be like 10 to 35% of your total daily intake. So like we know people are over consuming protein by a lot. And when it is consumed in excess, it's actually converted into glucose and stored as fat, not muscle. So it is interesting to Renee's eyes are wide. I think a lot of people think that it's just like extra muscle, but that's simply not what's happening inside your body. So it is interesting that we're seeing protein, high protein, everything. And with that, I wanted to kind of restart our conversation by asking you guys, what is the craziest high protein version of something you've seen in market as of today?
Renee, do you want to go first?
I have two.
Okay.
The first one is the protein popcorn that Khloe Kardashian, like the family that brought you detox teas.
Yes.
Now has protein popcorn, which like in my mind, I think about to the point of like casein, and like you could easily make a high protein cheese dust and then just like dust your own popcorn, but that's not how this product exists.
How do you make a high protein cheese dust, Renee?
You add whey to cheese dust. You can buy.
Oh, I thought you were going to say nutritional yeast.
Oh,
people
no,
say it's
you can.
cheesy.
Yes, it is. You can add nutritional yeast, and nutritional yeast is really high in protein. But I'm thinking of like the vein of the people who are already doing all these freaky protein tricks in their kitchen.
Yeah,
like that's going to be because they have that. There's now that protein powder on the market that's savory, that's meant to be added to like sauces and soups. I keep getting Instagram ads for it, but that is not my second product. My second product comes from a story of 2016 when this was originally launched, and it does not exist anymore. And it was only in Europe, and there's a version of it now. But a brand called Barbell Brew launched a protein beer.
What?
Yeah, which sounds like the biggest gut bomb. Like I already feel like beer makes you feel like you ate a bunch of bread, and so now it feels like you just drank a sandwich.
It's bloated. Yeah.
Right? Like I'm like, just have a smoothie, guys. Like, and add like a splash of vodka.
I feel like that needs to be the art, like the art cover for this episode. Like Cam, like drinking a sandwich.
But so this product doesn't exist anymore. But now, similar to Cam's Swolhito, there is a brand out there called Protocol with a CH, and they make a Swoleberry spiked protein drink in a can that is 8% APV and 11 grams of protein per can.
What?
Yeah. I was shocked to see actual alcohol that was doing this.
I just feel like that
they're so at odds.
I feel like that's just like a net negative.
That's
like
wild.
Well, because like, low carb, it makes sense because there are all those low carb beers and we saw the rise of those. And so now they're like adding other stuff to your beer. It's like at the Vibe show, which is a alcohol-based beverage show, very similar to Flavor Experience that's geared towards food service customers. There was a vendor that was showing beer with like a pump of hydration syrup in it. So it's interesting that you say this because the only thing it's making me think about is that we've obviously watched a lot of younger consumers kind of steer away from drinking so much alcohol, but this could be the thing that brings you back. Because it's like, originally I thought, why do I need a functional benefit with my alcohol? But it's like, but maybe if I was getting that fiber, that protein, like I would have a cocktail. Full meal replacement there.
Give me that high protein martini, like. What?
All right,
I
Cam,
don't
what
like
did you
that.
find?
So literally, I just from like a culinary standpoint, I was shocked to see like high protein marinara sauce.
Oh.
I'm just like the macros in it are insane because like there's
Wait, this is a food service product?
it's like CPG. Like,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
What
CPG
brand?
product. I'm blanking on the name of
Okay.
it. But they sell it at like Target. Crazy because like I saw it in person. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like,
So it's
this
got to be
is-
like a Rouse or Ragu or some like pretty
no, it's like it was like an indie brand.
the techification. Did
Yeah.
it have a sans serif bubble font?
No, but the claim like just
Was
in
it in
the
pastel
center-
colors?
No, surprisingly not.
With one really bright green.
But yeah, 80 grams of protein in the whole jar, which was wild. And there's 680 calories for the whole jar.
That sounds like a soup, not a sauce.
It's insane. Yeah, I was like looking at the ingredient statement and there's collagen and then there's whey concentrate. And I'm like, for a marinara sauce, I was like, marinara doesn't have any dairy in it to begin with. That's what I found so like wild to me was like,
Yeah, it'd be different if it was like a cream sauce, like an Alfredo.
yeah.
yes.
Sure.
And, like I just keep thinking again, like we've just been talking about this where it's like, no, that does not need protein in it. Just add a piece of freaking grilled chicken on.
Just add
on your
chicken, yeah.
pasta.
Yes.
Just do that.
And it's like, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here, but to your point, the things that we're seeing in the grocery store aisle versus what we're seeing operators do are very different. Because I feel like while we're like, stop making freaky marinara sauce, a lot of operators are like, we'll just double the amount of chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Chipotle, like they have the
high
little
protein bowls.
Yeah, and then like the little cups of you can just get like extra
Protein
extra
cup is
protein.
it's just a side of meat.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
No,
a
but it's
side
all
of a
about the
double
marketing
chicken,
now. So
right?
that's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys, which is that do we think that, like, how are you seeing operators and I guess CPG brands approach this in terms of marketing and menu innovation? Like, do you think it's necessary for operators to be adding new things to their menu, or do you think that they can really just slap that high protein claim on things that already exist?
I mean,
Because I
I
feel
think
like we've
leverage
mostly
it.
been, I mean, I guess it depends on the operator.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the easiest one, and just being within the sphere of like health and fitness, like a lot of people's like cheat meals, they'll go to Chick-fil-A because they have like the grilled nuggets, the grilled chicken breast, and it's like crazy amounts of protein. Like you can eat a relatively healthy meal, and I mean, it's grilled chicken at the end of the day. Like if you have a grilled chicken sandwich, you could easily just say, hey, high protein, and just slap that label on it.
Well, high protein does have an FDA standard of identity. So technically, to be called out as high protein on any menu, any kind of like brand in the grocery store aisle, it needs to have 20% of the daily value of your protein per serving, which has typically in the past been about 10 to 15 grams. I don't know how this impacts with the new USDA guidelines, because they did, to Callie's point, increase the like USDA amount of protein that you need, which is interesting, as both in like we see the influence of a lot of different lobbying groups. I'm sure they have pressure, but also to see the dietary changes reflect people's eating preferences is also kind of interesting. So they say 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram, which I have done the math.
Me too.
It's like half a gram to 0.7 on per body, which is, if you weigh 150 pounds, 81 to 110 grams of protein a day, which is about 2 cups of chicken breasts or 13 eggs.
13 eggs
13 eggs, man.
Who
That's
be
why it was
eating,
like
in this economy?
I mean, I can eat that
Brother.
amount of chicken. Like that's easy.
that's so many eggs.
That's so
But
many
who-
eggs.
I don't. Yeah. I could not. Yeah, not the egg thing.
The egg ick, man. It would.
But it's okay if they're deviled though. That's
it's
okay.
True. I can eat 26 deviled eggs.
Exactly.
No problem.
It's different. It's different when they're when the yolk has mayo and cornichons and just everything.
I can eat definitely 2 cups of like egg salad.
Yes.
Okay.
Easy.
It's like guacamole versus avocados.
Okay, but so in terms of like crazy things that I've seen enhanced with protein, it kind of leads into this conversation about how we've really seen like the candification of protein. And I'm curious. Well, first I'm going to ask a question and then I'm going to tell you guys which product I'm talking about. Do we think, I feel like there's such a trend right now of seeing these nostalgic brands like turn over high protein versions like Doritos. And so at a certain point, I'm asking myself, like, as a consumer, what becomes most valuable? Are they intrigued by the high protein, or is it like the brand partnership that's really getting them? You know?
I think, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because what I recently saw is launching is a partnership between Ghost and Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Lucky Charms. So we're getting high protein Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
And I
was like, not Cinnamon Toast Crunch flavored Ghost.
No.
Well, they have like, I mean, for them it makes sense because like their whole like brand identity. Because I use Ghost products.
Okay.
Their whole marketing strategy is it's more of like lifestyle rather than performance. So I think like that's like another thing that we should take into consideration. Because
what do you mean?
So when I'm saying like performance, like when you look at Ghost's products, they don't have like specific. Yes, they have like energy drinks and like whatnot, but they're more geared towards just like, oh, I need a boost of caffeine versus if you look at your other kind of energy drinks that have like the beta alanine that kind of it makes you feel tingly like when you drink it, and it kind of just primes your body to be like, okay, I'm ready to go work out. So, and Ghost is known for doing these partnerships. Like they have a pre-workout that tastes like Sonic's cherry limeade.
Oh,
it's very good, by the way. But yeah, just interesting to call out just because they don't shy away from the branded partnerships.
Yeah.
I recently went down a rabbit hole about like pre-workout, like what it does, what it's actually for, and that it's about like caffeine content, and caffeine is not something that makes you less tired. It makes you like feel less tired. Your body is still having that tired sensation. And so like one of the best pre-workouts, and I was listening to this like dietetic, I don't know, like YouTube essay on it, is applesauce. Oh. Because it has the carbs, to your point, Cali. And she was like, she speaks to first responders, and first responders overuse caffeine a lot of the time, specifically when they're trying to work out. And then the more caffeine you add, the more your caffeine addiction becomes bigger, and But she was like, yeah, we've gotten so many people just to switch to applesauce, and they feel better because of the longevity through their workout.
And so that's a really great point, because kind of what Cam was saying at the beginning, when we think about quality protein and how important high quality protein really is, and that we're not always seeing that reflected in a lot of these CPG products, like it obviously plays into the fact that, I mean, when we digest these things, like you need to be consuming protein with carbs and fat. Like there is a difference in the bioavailability and how your body processes it, which makes me want to ask you guys, like, I feel like there has been limited but growing innovation in food service of operators who are using products fortified with protein, as opposed to like a Chipotle that's like, oh, chicken, whole ingredient protein. And do you think that there is room for that to grow in food service, or do you think that it's going to stay more limited to these CPG products? Like we've seen Starbucks cold foam with the protein.
So I did see that Subway released protein wraps that are just like the tortilla with the added protein to it. So I think that the carriers and carbs in general make sense from a consumer perspective to fortify. The other thing that is high protein rice. So something like brown rice that has more protein in it than white rice, or just swapping out your rice for protein rice, which is just a different grain of rice. It's not necessarily like in some cases they have been fortified, but they have specialty rice growers. And so it's a really easy like 1-to-1 swap, even if you're just using brown rice instead of white rice. And then you can even double down on the fiber content too. And so I think we're going to continue to see operators move in that direction, and then just double down on the amount of meat they're putting into things, or put to the fiber point, but beans. So is it more of a bean and meat blend that goes onto pizzas? Are we going to see pizzas that have more chicken on them, more beans, like similar to what Blaze did? I don't know, Cam, what do you think?
I was going to say, like, I like the point that you're talking about with we were talking about Starbucks, and my mind immediately goes to Dunkin'. Actually, they have the protein refreshers, and all they're doing, it's just either ultra filtered milk. So I think of like the Fairlifes of the world. And that's just like a really easy way to just bump up the protein, like in a drink that already needs the milk anyway.
Yeah.
So to me, like that is not super far reaching, like as well as the added protein in your carrier. Like I love that. But yeah, I just love the beverage innovation that we're seeing in this space.
I think it's interesting, though, to highlight yet again when we think about all of our health trends, how CPG and food service do seem to be like conflicting in terms of innovation because, right, like a thing like Starbucks and the high protein cold foam, like that is something that's fortified. But I feel like in food service generally, we are seeing operators lean more into, what we are hearing is healthy, which is like leaning into those whole ingredient protein sources and leveraging those more on the menu to put those high protein claims. Whereas I feel like we've just kind of shot ourselves to the moon in CPG and on retail shelves by like slapping a high protein claim on just about anything. Like I can't get over the fact that you can get high protein Pop-Tarts now. And so it's interesting because we tell consumers like eat whole ingredient protein. And then we're like, here's a million options of all these sugary things.
Right. But it's like the permissible indulgence of it all.
Yeah.
I'm like Cam knows this. I'm a candy freak. And I need my little mini candy bars in the afternoon to the point where we didn't have them for a while. And I hunted down our kitchen manager. Like, Diana, I need an almond joy. But then they started buying Built bars for a while. Yep. And now like my afternoon snack that was the same amount of calories previously now is a little bit more functional. And I'm able to eat that at 4 p.m. And then that takes me to my like 5:30 workout and I still feel full. And then I only have to eat like half a banana and I'm good to go. But I still need that carb to your point. So the Pop-Tart thing I think is specifically like really interesting just because what brand already has Pop-Tarts? There's like a Pop-Tart brand. There's a fake Pop-Tart that's already protein.
Oh,
that exists.
I know. I can see the packaging in my head. I'm going to Google it.
I've purchased it before too.
Same.
And I know what you're talking about.
They're terrible. They're so bad.
Shout out bad.
They're so bad.
The legendary foods. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see if like part of this reaction from these really large brands is because these products that are on the market now that are by these smaller, more indie brands, to everyone's points, are not successful because they don't taste good. And it's like, are they repeat users? Like, or is it like, have you bought another Pop-Tart since you tried that one Pop-Tart, Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's where the brand value comes in, right?
I've always find myself like when I see these interesting products, like to your point, Renee, it's like I saw it on the shelf. I bought it. I ate through the package and I'm like, okay, that's it. I move on. Like, I don't like it was more of like the novelty of it than anything else. And that's all this is. And I think like I feel like what's kind of encompassing this whole conversation, at least how I'm articulating it, is that these products all serve a purpose at the end of the day. It's like, especially like when we're traveling and it's like, okay, how the hell am I going to get 190 grams of protein while I'm traveling especially with the job that we do? Yeah. It's like, I have to rely on these products because we don't always have the luxury of just eating a whole meal and sitting down. And so I think everything's in balance. Like, you can enjoy these products, but don't make them the sole source of your protein. Like, look at those whole ingredients, like, just be mindful of what you're eating throughout the day, essentially.
Yeah. And there was, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there was recently an article just this week in The Atlantic about, it was called like the protein bar delusion. And it spoke all about that. But basically, it was speaking about how, you know, all of these basically candy bars that are fortified with protein are being viewed as a good swap for meals or other snacks, which ultimately at the end of the article, they said, like, you know, as America tries to become healthier forever and like we want Americans to be healthy again, right? These can serve as good options to, like you were saying, Renee, swap out your normal candy bar, but like they should not be replacing these nutrient dense whole ingredient meals.
No. And like, so I'm part of the R1 bag subreddit.
What?
This is going somewhere. So somebody asked, like, what's like the number one thing that is not typically something that a lot of people would carry with them that is worth the space in your bag.
Yep.
And one of the answers was like a really mid protein bar, like something that will satiate you ultimately, but isn't something that is like super craveable. So you're not always going to eat it. And like so many of the comments were about like how many protein bars are candy bars and we crave them now and there's so much sugar in them, but people don't realize it's like your body responds the same to sugar whether or not that sugar has calories in it. It can still spike your sugar. And so that kind of like nuance in between of like the RX bar, kind of going back to the Cliff Bar, those like kind of OG protein bars on the market that are good, but they are not candy.
Yeah.
I will say though, I'm proud of food service for really doubling down on this like whole foods perspective.
Well, Cam, as somebody who eats as much protein as you do, I'm curious, like, because you're a chef yourself, but also because you like to eat out, like, how do you approach that when you're going out to dinner and you know that you need a high protein meal? So what do you mean by that?
So when I've been working with my coach and he's been helping me with like the mental side of like eating, not trying to say like eating disorder or anything like that, but trying to hit the protein goal as close as possible. And basically, if I'm going to be going out, so tomorrow going out, having fun and just trying to get in as much protein in throughout before the event, so to speak. So limiting the amount of carbs that I am eating. So basically volume eating. So like packing in a lot of vegetables and eating lean sources of protein. So that's like chicken breasts and what have you. And then I have like a bank of calories like at the end, so to speak, and that I could just be like, okay, I have this much that I can eat, I can enjoy myself. But at the end of the day too, it's like, it's one day out of a lifetime ahead. That was kind of like the mental mind shift that I had to take, where it's like, it's a step back, but you're going to bounce right back like immediately when you wake up the next day.
So you're consuming most of your protein before you're going to a restaurant?
Depending on like what kind of restaurant if I'm going to. So it's like if we're celebrating like someone's birthday, like someone in our family, and we're going to a steakhouse or something, I can obviously play around with like my macros, so to speak, to be like, oh, okay, I'll order like an 8-ounce filet or a 12-ounce filet or what have you. Oh, it's going to have this many grams of protein. Oh, okay, cool. I can cut back to what I'm eating.
Yeah.
And actually have like rice or something to tide me over. So a lot of this comes down to just like experience and just working with someone. I feel like I've talked about this, like there are people that are out there that are willing to help people with just like eating and like working out. It's like there are resources out there, like use them. Because it saved me from like a lot of just like mental turmoil and just like it's given me a much healthier perspective on like how to eat while having certain performance goals, physique goals, like all of that. So
also, I feel like to just the general idea of, you know, wanting to go out to dinner and make sure you get protein, I feel like it's such a dad mentality to, I feel like long gone are the days where we can say like, oh, going to a vegetarian restaurant, like I'm not gonna like eat any protein, right? Because like we've been focusing so much on our whole ingredient, like our plant-based protein sources. But I just always think it's such a dad mentality to be like, I have to go somewhere that serves meat. Even though we are really seeing this bounce back of like meat on the menu being called out this year, as if, I mean, it didn't go away, but like, I guess for a while consumers were more concerned because of like cholesterol and saturated fats, but now we're seeing that come back into more of a focus, I think.
So Cam, what is your best piece of advice for commercial food service operators who are trying to like fit into this protein world? If like, what do you think is the best way to capture people's attention and like not have stress on back of house and not have to bring in 100 new things? Like, what's your advice to them?
I would say like look at what you're already serving ultimately. Like there's definitely a high protein option on your menu. You just have to market it at the end of the day. As someone that if I'm going to be going out and eating at a chain restaurant or a QSR, I'm always looking at the menu, just trying to see like, okay, I want to indulge. I want something that is relatively high protein. I understand that the fat is probably going to be a little bit higher, but that's okay. And just really looking at what's on your menu already, seeing what the protein content is, and if it hits like a certain threshold, like we were talking about, definitely label that as such. We were talking about it earlier. If you have a grilled protein, like a chicken, like that is inherently going to be high protein anyway. A chicken breast, a lean piece of beef, like these are things that are already on most menus to begin with. So you could easily slap that label already. And then you can kind of start exploring the holes in your menu and seeing like, oh, maybe let's play around with that high protein carrier option. Or it's like, hey, why don't we try these fortified milks in our lattes to increase protein? So there's so many different ways that you can go about it, but those would just be my suggestions so far.
I like it. I think it's like really straightforward innovation in a way that is accessible, especially when the economy, it's just hard for operators to innovate from a workforce point of view and a ingredients point of view and just like a cost of goods point of view. How much more are you willing to pay for something that meets the FDA high protein, like on a restaurant menu? How many more dollars for your bowl, for your pizza, for your sandwich? What's your threshold, do you think?
I would say if we start going over the $20 mark for something, I would say that's when I would start to question it, because I could make something definitely a lot cheaper at home ultimately, and I would be able to have and create more dishes for that $20, so to speak, per serving. And something that I did want to touch on too is that, like, yes, this is, we always talk about these trends and fads within food service, but I personally like believe that you don't have to hop onto every single trend that happens. Like, you ultimately have to like look at your business, what your business model is, and it's like, does high protein make sense for our brand and for our customers? And that is something that it's like, I look at it with some of the flavors that we see, like ube as an example. It's like, do we need to see ube at a, I don't know, like at a Checkers? Probably not. Like, so
You don't want ube dusted seasoned fries?
I don't know if I'm there yet.
The new purple ketchup.
Okay.
I do think to the point about price, I do think it is interesting also from kind of like if we switch our perspectives, and you know, it's easy to almost like joke about a lot of these high protein innovative CPG products, but I think if prices continue to rise for these products, I don't know how much room, like what the threshold is, because I'm thinking about the consumers. I mean, there are a lot of areas in the US who are unfortunately in food deserts, right? So like the innovation of a high protein Pop-Tart is better than a non-high protein Pop-Tart if like that's what you're, you know, dealing with, and those are your options. And so I think it is important that like specifically like our QSR and cast casual operators are leaning into this and like gratefully in a whole ingredient way. But I don't know. I feel like if it gets more and more and more expensive, it's like we're putting pressure on consumers when we know that we're already tightening our budgets.
I don't even know if it'll be pressure, but it's just like they're just going to see the price. They're just going to get sticker shock and just put it away. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I'm curious as like Gen A starts to enter the workforce, you know, as they turn 15, 16 and start to have jobs, like how this will impact them, thinking about millennials that came up in the Atkins diet and the low fat and turned into like really embracing whole fat foods, you know, or in the early 2010s. So I'm curious to see how things really shift over time. You know, obviously there's the rise of drugs like Ozempic, Zepbound, Mounjaro.
Yep.
I always want to say Kilimanjaro. I know. I'm not. Yeah. But them releasing the pill form that like, and how that will, I think there's a rise in folks who are interested in gastric bypass surgery and gastric sleeves more. So as like, you know, to your point, Cali, as, you know, Americans shift their health perspective, understanding how this shows up and what happens to protein as we know fiber continues to grow, what'll be on the grocery store shelves in 2 years.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
Right, like what's it gonna look like?
Yeah.
Well, there is that new yogurt ratio that's high protein, high fiber. Get on it.
Isn't that just Greek yogurt mixed with like
probably
psyllium
husk?
husk?
Yeah, like what is it? The benefactor? Is
it's honestly pretty good.
Benefiber, thank you, not benefactor.
It's honestly pretty good.
I feel like there needs to be like a cut of all the things that I have said wrong.
Should we wrap this up?
We should wrap this up.
Yeah.
We should.
So if you agree with Cam's hot take, let us know. If you are consuming as many grams of protein as Cam is eating, let us know.
Definitely let us know. That would be impressive.
And if you think Cam's wrong about cottage cheese recipes, you can DM me directly.
There we go.
So I can print it out and put them all over Cam. Like, send me your recipes.
Just put it on my desk.
Put it on his desk. It'll be a whole display. It'll be great. Anything else, you guys, before we do our official closing?
Clothing?
Exactly.
No?
Cool.
I'm good.
Okay, well, that's it for today. If you're liking the show, please take a minute to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, we love comments, so drop those down below. And if you're listening on the podcast app of your choice, leave us a rating and review. We are always hungry for feedback. And in the meantime, keep it delicious. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.